All right, everyone, welcome back into another NBA DFS video. Coming in, obviously, off of a very good day yesterday. The lineup I gave you guys ended up finishing second in a single entry contest. Hopefully, you guys were able to take advantage and use some of those plays, or maybe even that direct lineup. Don't copy the direct lineup, guys. That's just for example purposes, but nice to see that it led to success. Hopefully, you guys were able to take advantage of that. Let's go ahead and get on into the slate today. So starting out with the first game here, we got Phoenix versus Miami. I don't think we're going to get to many plays here in this game, guys, unless maybe Norman Powell ends up sitting. He is listed as questionable right now. If he were to end up sitting, sure, we might be looking at Tyler Hero to be a better play. We'd be looking at Andrew Wiggins to be a better play. But overall, I don't think we really need to get to anyone in this game because we're going to have some better games later on in this video. And so one of the games that we might be targeting a decent amount is going to be the Chicago versus Houston game. This does seem like a pretty appealing game to me, guys. Kobe White's still out. Zach Collins still out. And then looking at Houston, Tari Eason's out. And I shouldn't say it's like very appealing, but because there's players out for Chicago and because of the blowout risk where it's about a 13-point spread, maybe we could get to some players for Chicago. Again, later on, we're going to get to some better games. But this is a better game than the previous one. So like Modest, I think is a phenomenal pay up here, guys, even though it's going to be more of a tough matchup. Again, the blowout risk and also the tough matchup we don't like, but really Modest. And then also AO as well. These two plays are definitely too cheap given the fact that they are projected to get 30 plus minutes. I think there's a good chance that they end up performing much better than what they are currently projected at. Also worth pointing out, we got Vucevic here at 7.8. I don't mind the idea of stacking Chicago. It's the best way I should phrase it because we do have some cheap prices with Modest. We have AO too cheap, and then I would argue Vucevic is too cheap for how well he has been playing. So I don't mind the idea of like stacking those, and maybe they end up having a game in which they win. Like yesterday, guys, Utah was like 20-point dogs, and they end up winning against Cleveland. Maybe that ends up happening here and you're gaining some huge leverage on the field. So not a terrible spot. Again, just in that theory, like game theory wise, I think we could get to them, but also no one is like an insanely good play. Same thing here with Houston. Now I do think it's worth getting into this Denver versus Pelicans game, guys. 2.5 point spread, 233 game total. A lot of players are out. Okay. Jamal Murray currently listed as day to day. Don't love that. And then we know that Aaron Gordon, Spencer Jones probably going to play. And then all the other players that have been out are still out. And so that's going to create some value. Peyton Watson's probably going to be someone we're looking at. And then for the Pelicans, guys, Bay is out, Alvarado's out, Murray's out, and Herbert Jones is out. And this is pretty crazy, guys. Like the value that we're getting for Missy here at 20 projected minutes at 3.3, clearly too cheap. And Derek Queen as well at 6.6 is also too cheap, especially in this matchup against Denver, who is missing some of their bigs. So it's not a terrible matchup. I like the idea of potentially getting to Trey Murphy. I think he's a decent play. Bay, if he does end up playing. So let's see. I thought he was out. Oh, okay. So he's in the lineup. So he might end up actually playing. Let's see here. So his last status was out. He's questionable for Tuesday's game. Okay. So if he plays, that kind of muddies it a little bit. But I will say for Yusuf Missy, this is definitely just too cheap of a price tag, especially if he does end up getting 20 minutes. That's a value that we should be getting to. I guess with Bay potentially playing, that does, that probably hurts Trey Murphy a little bit, although he has the upside to really go off. And at 7.7 to me, he is just simply too cheap. I love chasing the upside. If it doesn't work out, kind of, oh well, like, right, we're playing to win GPPs. He's the type of play that could win you a GPP. So I really don't mind that. Fears is someone that if Bay does end up getting ruled out, guys, I think he ends up being a much better click as well. Maybe gets to 30 plus minutes, but I think there's a great chance he gives us to at least 5x, potentially 6x as well. Then even Derek Queen, guys. Derek Queen holds a pretty decent ceiling. As we could see, he was someone that we could be looking at to return 5x. So I really don't mind the idea of getting to these three plays specifically for the Pelicans. Let me go ahead and take a peek at Denver, guys. Aaron Gordon might end up being a little bit too cheap, but I'm actually surprised at the lack of value that we have here. Although I'm perfectly happy to continue to ride with Peyton Watson, who has just been someone that's been going off. And per 36 wise, like the data suggests that he has been too cheap and he actually is continuing to be too cheap. I get it. It's Peyton Watson. People don't want to get to that. And eventually he's going to have a poor game. Maybe that happens today, but I actually think Vegas, which is, where a decent amount of the projections are coming in from, I think Vegas just has him wrong right now. And so to me, I really do like the idea of getting to Peyton Watson. Maybe Aaron Gordon being back hurts him a little bit, but I think we're going to get 40 plus DFS points out of him at 7.5. And this is a good matchup. And so overall, I would expect him to be able to take advantage of that matchup. And then we go ahead and get into the most appealing game on the night, guys, in terms of value. That's going to be Minnesota versus Milwaukee. We look at it, guys. Anthony Edwards is out. Rudy Gobert's out as well. And Terrence Shannon being out is kind of huge as well. Then we look at Milwaukee. They could potentially be without Myles Turner, which is a little bit interesting there. But like Nasri, Julius Randle, Bones Highland, we're going to get a lot of pretty solid plays here for Minnesota. And so like Mike Conley, if he does end up getting 23 plus minutes, is clearly too cheap, clearly would be a great value. Naz Reid is someone that's really standing out as a great value. Everyone's too cheap, honestly, for the Timberwolves. Literally everyone is too cheap. We should begin to everyone. The question I have is, are we also looking at maybe Rob Dillingham a little bit? If he ends up getting 20 plus minutes, I think he'd be like a phenomenal play. I don't think we can trust that. I like the idea of getting to Bones Highland, guys. I think he's going to get 20 plus minutes. We could play him in the shooting guard spot. Dante DiVincenzo, I don't necessarily see the need to get to, although I could see him, not having a bad game. And then Mike Conley, I would assume Mike Conley is going to get 20 plus minutes. And if he does, he is too cheap, but they have kind of restricted his minutes. So although he's like the best value on the slate, I could see a point in which we aren't getting to him. And then I do think we want to be choosing between either Naz Reid, Jaden McDaniels, or Julius Randle. I think Randle is probably properly priced, and I think we just get to Naz Reid instead. Now for the Bucks, I don't see any crazy play here, guys. If Turner were to end up sitting, it'd be interesting to see if like Jericho Sims would be someone we could look at. He's someone that if he gets 20 plus minutes, maybe a little bit interesting at the min price, but also right now I don't think we need to necessarily mess with him. Then we get into the Spurs versus OKC. I will say not too much here. Okay, so for the Spurs, I think everyone's just kind of properly priced. And I would also say that for OKC here as well, guys, like everyone's just properly priced. And so to close out my first look build, we're obviously going to have to find someone to pay up for. Jokic is out, and so we can't do that. I don't mind the idea of getting to Giannis or SGA. Do we just get to Giannis and get our 50 plus DFS points? I don't hate that, but I also don't think we necessarily need to do that. Again, I don't mind someone like Zion. I think he's fine. The issue is honestly we have too much value on the slate, and so like this is a fine spot. Maybe we could upgrade from Mike Conley. Like, will Mike Conley produce enough points to be in the GPP winning lineup? I mean, maybe, but it does feel like a little bit more of a toss-up. Bruce Brown, maybe if Jamal Murray sits. I mean, this is the issue here, is like we're starting to get not enough good plays at the tail end of this. I mean, I guess I'll go with Davion Mitchell for now. If Powell sits, I think he's clearly a little bit too cheap. So not the best first look build, but also not terrible. Then I'll give you guys a peek at what the 9-to-5 lineup builder is telling us are going to be some top builds here. And so the top build, Mike Conley, Kevin Durant, Ryan Dunn. The data always kind of seems to like him. Julius Randle, Sengun, Reed Shepherd. I don't know if we need to get to Reed Shepherd, guys. Aaron Gordon, Naz Reid. So kind of interesting with how it's going about building lineups. It is seemingly getting to a decent amount of like 9K plays. So SGA here, not a terrible play. Trying to get to Sengun. Okay, so that's interesting. I like getting to the Pelican guys a little bit more, getting value there. But yeah, getting to Sengun instead is an interesting way to pay up. Not a terrible idea there as well. But that's going to do it for this video, guys. Again, hopefully we have another good day today. Make sure to subscribe to the channel, guys. If you guys are someone that's not subscribed, please help out the channel grow. Trying to get to 500 subscribers. Appreciate you all, though. Thanks for watching, guys. Good luck. And as always, let's keep cashing.